Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry. That's a sentence the Spotify algorithm likes. Bert Kreischer's show Free Bert is out today on Netflix. The only press I've seen him do so far was on Gayle King on CBS, and I went to pull the audio, and the interview was very CBS This Morning, Gayle King-y, and not interesting at all. So I'm like, forget it. I'll just tell them that it's out today. We'll see if Bert does any more press. From Lad Bible, comedian speaks out over allegations Ricky Gervais stole his joke. Okay, did Ricky Gervais steal a joke? I'm going to have to do a lot of paraphrasing here as I try to keep it clean. During his Golden Globe award-winning special, Ricky Gervais started joking about The Exorcist, cleaning up Ricky's joke. He said something like, if scientists actually found the devil, I'd want to meet him. And I'd meet the devil, and he'd try to hurt my feelings. And he went, your mother does a whole bunch of things with her mouth in hell. And Ricky's tag is, I don't care. One, she's dead. Two, she was heterosexual. And then he goes on to have some fun with that premise. Some comedy fans claim that it was a cut and paste of a joke made by Andy Field back in 2020 during BBC's Stand Up for Live comedy. Field's version, which I'll also clean up, has anyone seen The Exorcist? Your mother does things with her mouth in hell, and you're supposed to go, oh no, that sounds awful, but I don't know, I think it sounds fine. It's hell, isn't it? It's where the most imaginable things happen. There's a million people burning for eternity in a lake of fire, constantly blistering in agony. My mom's down there doing stuff. Who's having stuff done to them in hell anyway? That seems like a weirdly positive thing to be happening. Boy, that sounds extremely similar. So Field heard that Gervais might be copying his joke. Field shared a video on social media explaining his opinion. Field spliced clips of both their sets together to highlight the similarities and pointed out they're pretty close. But the idea that there's so many bits that are so close is kind of weird, isn't it? If I'm honest, I think what happened is that Ricky Gervais had the same idea as me independently on his own at a different time. People love a bit of drama, love a bit of joke stealing. Johnny Mac's guilty of that. I don't think that's what happened here, most likely. Field says, we've never met. I know I did that bit on BBC One, but no one watched it. I had that idea 10 years ago. Ricky Gervais had it quite recently. I don't think he stole my bit. I think we just have very similar bits. Very similar is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Field took the opportunity to highlight how many talented people there are out there. Lots of people, myself included, can make stand-up at that level. There's not space in the public consciousness for that many successful comedians, but there are that many talented people out there. All right, well played. He got his message across. The court of public opinion can decide. Polestar posted a big, long discussion between Jerry Seinfeld and Nate Bargatze. It'll take me days to go through this, but let's start picking away at it. Jerry said, let's start here with what's on my mind. What do you have to do in this business that people stop trying to make you laugh? You get these guys, and then you say something, and you go, I'm kidding. What makes people think I'm going to riff with Nate a little bit? I'm his accountant. Nate Bargatze said, I get a lot of stories, and I'll be honest, I enjoy telling them why their story's not good and what I would do with it. The problem is they get to the punchline almost immediately, and then they don't know how to get out of it. So then that's the fun part. I got hit by a car, and then it's like, yo, man, you got to save that car thing and build up a little bit in the middle. They start talking about their wives. Jerry Seinfeld said, my wife's extremely funny also, but when she's telling a story, I just keep thinking tighter, just tighter. Nate says, oh yeah, everything's tighter. Nothing should be long. The idea of the elevator pitch. You should think about that all the time. Jerry said, it's not important for them. It doesn't matter if it works at dinner or not, really. New topic, Nate said, I was talking to a younger comic like 6 months in just recently, and he's going on and on about his sets, a bad show he did. And you're like, I don't care, man. You're 6 months in. Then he stopped and came back to it, and I was like, why don't you tell that story again one more time? Let's see how this one ends. They don't even realize it because they're 6 months into comedy. Plenty more from those two. You'll find it on Polestar. Now, if you listen every day, you know that the president and I don't see eye to eye on all the issues. Some of them we do, like making late night great again. Some of them we don't. I won't make that list right now. But we do agree that we have a problem at 12:30 for sure. And I'm aligned with the president that Stephen Colbert has to go. Now, we have different reasons for that. Mine is Stephen Colbert is one of the comedians helping to absolutely destroy Star Trek. So I have no patience for Stephen Colbert, Tig Notaro, Gina Yashir, or Patton Oswalt, Doug the Vulcan. So I'm not at all excited that Stephen Colbert is going to make an appearance on Seth Meyers. Why not just yell out the window, Stephen? Why not come on this show? The audience isn't all that much different. Why would you go on Seth Meyers? Late Nighter got into the logistics of all this. Colbert will walk the 5 blocks from his offices to the Ed Sullivan Theater. I'm pretty sure he'll be in a town car of some sort. Anyway, he will somehow travel 5 blocks on Monday Although right now the forecast for New York City on Monday is somewhere between a nice day and 40,000 inches of snow. Most of you who live somewhere east of the Mississippi have a similar forecast for this weekend. Are we getting 2 inches, 4,000 inches? Who knows? But let's say there was no snow. Stephen Colbert would somehow, maybe by sled, travel 5 blocks. But John, you just said there was no snow. Why would he travel by sled if there's no snow? Your whole premise is busting apart. This is why I need Seinfeld and Nate to tell me how to tell a story. I digress. Colbert, somehow, don't worry about the weather. Somehow he's going to go 5 blocks. You really should edit this, John. But that's not fun. Colbert will somehow go 5 blocks from the Ed Sullivan Theater to 30 Rock. At 30 Rock, he will pre-tape his appearance to the 90 people who watch Late Night with Seth Meyers, and then go back to record his own #1 rated late-night canceled talk show, The Late Show. Now, Late Nighter points out, on Mondays, Seth Meyers tapes 2 episodes covering both Monday and Tuesday, which I've discussed in the past on this program. I find it curious the Colbert people didn't take that option. Maybe stop off at some budget cuts before we cancel the thing entirely. But maybe it's for the best because Stephen Colbert is helping to ruin Star Trek, but I digress. Sarah Silverman shared a not safe for work anecdote from her days on Saturday Night Live. Sarah went on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Why are people doing this program? You think I'm being mean? Here's from Late Nighter, October 14th, 2025. Here are final late night ratings for Q3. Late Night with Seth Meyers averaged 923,000 total viewers and 109,000 in the 18 to 49s. Stephen Colbert and Sarah Silverman could actually stand on a box in Times Square and reach more people. That is not at all a joke. Make late night great again. Come on, President Trump. You're focusing on the wrong issues. You're totally distracted. All week you've been totally distracted with crazy things. You need to focus on this late night issue. Sarah Silverman said she was there at SNL 50 with John Lovitz. Paul McCartney was about to perform. Sarah said she and Lovitz made a bet before Paul began his set. She said John Lovitz leans over and he goes, "If I can guess what song he's going to sing, will you show me a picture of your privates?" He used a different word. But not as bad as you think. The one with the V. He used that word. Or at least that's the version Sarah tells. Who knows what he actually said? Sarah told the 7 people that watched Seth Meyers, absolutely, deal. Lovitz correctly guessed Golden Slumbers. Sarah did not say whether she made good on the bet. Hey, a bet's a bet. Kenan Thompson is getting back together with Kel Mitchell. They're making yet another movie. It's not Good Burger 3. Oh, no. They're making a horror comedy, Kenan and Kel Meet Frankenstein, which makes me wonder, why doesn't Sandler do that? Why aren't we doing Adam Sandler Meets Frankenstein, Adam Sandler Meets the Mummy? Why is Sandler not doing 10 of those? That's kind of comedian Adam Sandler's destiny, right? Do whatever Abbott did, except it's Adam Sandler. Here, let me look those up. Johnny Mac's a little loose today. I'm looking here at the IMDb. Sandler could remake all kinds of movies. Could you see Adam Sandler in a remake of Buck Privates? Adam Sandler could play a sidewalk salesman enlisting in the army to avoid jail, only to find that his drill instructor is the police officer who had him imprisoned. You could see that. Could you see Adam Sandler in Hold That Ghost after inheriting a fortune from a gangster? A dim-witted service station attendant finds himself stranded in a haunted house. Does that not scream Adam Sandler? Here Come the Co-eds. A bumbler, played by Adam Sandler, could become the caretaker at an all-girls college. During his misadventures, he raises money to free the school from its traditionally minded landlord. Could you not see that? Adam Sandler Meets Frankenstein. The Wolfman tries to warn a dim-witted porter that Dracula wants his brain for Frankenstein monster's body. I mean, does that not scream Adam Sandler movie? Adam Sandler in The Foreign Legion. In this Abbott and Costello remake, a Brooklyn wrestling promoter goes to French Algeria in search of a famous Algerian wrestler, but accidentally ends up in the French Foreign Legion. Could you not see that? Could you not see Adam Sandler Meets the Invisible Man? How about Adam Sandler and the Beanstalk? In this Abbott and Costello remake, the story about Adam Sandler who trades the family cow for magic beans. I think I've made my point. Move on. Although I am distracted by Adam Sandler Goes to Mars and Adam Sandler Meets Captain Kidd, Adam Sandler Meets Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Adam Sandler Meets the Mummy. Where were we? Oh, Kenan Thompson was making a movie. I try not to hand in the same show every day, guys. Kenan Thompson was making a movie. This is called Kenan and Kel Meet Frankenstein. Kenan said, "Kel and I have always loved finding new ways to work together, and this project felt like the perfect mix of nostalgia, comedy, and something completely unexpected. We're excited to bring a fresh take on a classic monster story and have some fun doing it." There's more podcasting awards, which is something I could say every single day. There's so many podcasting awards. These are the Ambies presented by the Podcast Academy, which sounds really fancy. 33 categories. Best comedy podcast. The nominees are Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, the not-so-canceled Las Culturistas, something called Murder at the Patel Motel, Smartless, The Bald and the Beautiful, The Big Pitch with Jimmy Carr, which is not a good podcast, and I like Jimmy Carr despite the whole Riyadh thing. That is not a good podcast. And Wisecrack. I don't know what Wisecrack is, and I don't care. Now, podcast of the year, real quick. Call Her Daddy, Crime Junkie, Pablo Torre, Pod Save America, Question Everything, Reveal, Smartless, The Last Invention, The Mel Robbins Podcast, and Wisecrack once again. Must be a good show. I better look this up now if it's nominated for everything. What is Wisecrack? Wisecrack from Tenderfoot. Now, I know the Tenderfoot guys. They are good people. I know Donald, and Donald hands in good work. Okay, this is just off my radar because I don't work with them anymore. You can check my resume. I work with them. He left home as the chubby kid with a dream. A decade later, he's a touring comic with a killer set. All right, let's give it a that, because I like Donald. Anyway, you may be noticing, hey, John, how come you didn't mention Amy Poehler? She just won the Golden Globe for Best Podcast. She's not even nominated? What's the deal with that? Entertainment Weekly looked into it, and apparently they confirmed with a source at Spotify that Spotify historically does not submit for awards. If you're enjoying this program today, God bless you, and if you would like it without commercials, one thing you can do, you open up your Apple Podcast app. I'll do it with you. I got my phone right here. Okay, I'm going to swipe up, and I'm going to find the podcast app after I enter my code. I'm not telling you what my code is. Podcast app. So I go to shows, daily comedy news. There it is. And then there's this banner. It says uninterrupted listening, $4.99 a month or $49.99 for a year after trial. Try free. Now, if I were to click that, I would find that there are 46 shows on the Calaroga Shark Network, and I would get them all ad-free for $5 a month. Actually, there's more than 46. We don't have everything on the ad-free tier for reasons. There are 46 on the ad-free tier. So if you're like, hey, I heard John also hosts Good News Stories. I'd like that without commercials. That would be part of your $5. And the best part, 30-day free trial. So for 30 days, you could just try it out. And then on day 31, when Apple's like, hey, we billed you $5, you'd be like, damn, John told me that on January 22nd, and I forgot. And I'll be like, I don't know what to tell you. It was a 30-day free trial. I never said it was more than 30-day free trial. After 30 days, it's $5 a month. All right, Apple Podcasts, uninterrupted listening. You click, you know what to do. Today's the last day to vote for week 3 of Comedy Survivor. Last time I checked, it looked like either Tig Notaro or Joe Coy was going to go home. I don't weigh on these things. One hosted the Golden Globes one time and told a horrible, mean joke about Taylor Swift. The other is destroying Star Trek. I don't get to vote. I only get to tell you the results. So vote. And then sometime tomorrow, I will record the episode, and then you'll get the episode on Monday, hopefully at noon. Now, last week, some idiot named Johnny Mac forgot to schedule it for noon, and out of habit, scheduled it for 3:05 Eastern. So you got the results a little early. Doesn't really matter. I did want to apologize for running out the door on you guys yesterday. That was a true story. The boiler guy did show up. We've been having, if you've been listening every day, we've been having all kinds of problems with the heat this winter. And the boiler guy was coming, and I knew what the forecast was. I mean, I woke up this morning, it was 4 degrees where I live. That is not a joke. It is 26 right now. And here are the lows for the upcoming week. Now, tomorrow's low is 21, not too bad, but then 8, 9, 5, 5, 9, 10, and 12. So I wanted to make sure the boiler was working. So as much as I wanted to tell you about Martin Short's new documentary, I was like, they can wait till tomorrow. No offense. I can't do this if I freeze to death. So let me go a little more slowly today. That documentary is called Marty, Life is Short. It'll be out on Netflix in May. Directed by Lawrence Kasdan, the documentary includes never-before-seen archive footage, as well as interviews with some of the most established and beloved stars. Martin Short has no plans to retire. He told The Hollywood Reporter back in June, I'm not a believer in retirement just based on a number. It's designed for people who don't really like their job, and they want to relax, or they're tired, or they just want to do something else. But I like my job. That's a good attitude. Also, when the boiler guy came, I didn't get to tell you about Russell Brand. His case was heard at the Westminster Magistrates Court. Brand was facing 2 new counts, one of rape and one of sexual assault. Russell appeared via video link from the United States. He was granted bail. In December, a detective chief over at the Metropolitan Police said the women who have made reports, including those connected to the 2 new charges, continue to receive support from specially trained officers. The Met's investigation remains ongoing, and detectives urge anyone affected by this case or anyone with information to come forward and speak with police. Separate from that, Russell Brand is facing allegations of sexual offenses against 4 other women The trial's coming up in June. Oh, here's an awful segue. Out today on the 800-Pound Gorilla, Cameron Esposito has a new special. You go watch it, and when you see the name of the special, you'll see why I'm just choosing not to tell you the name of the special here. Cameron Esposito's new special on the 800-Pound Gorilla. Also out today, Janet McNamara will release her debut comedy album, Not Smart Enough, via PGF Records. We're told Janet's idiosyncratic perspective and finely tuned joke writing have distinguished her as a captivating headlining act, a fantastic comic with an amazing delivery and enviable timing of very unique people. Bill Burr has shared clips of Janet's stand-up online for her debut album. Janet hit the stage at the Gutter in Brooklyn to discuss workplace annoyances, why sex is stupid, and how various health professionals have suggested she get tested for autism. Coming out in February, Troy Walker, a longtime writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live. He'll have his debut comedy album, Esquire. That'll be via Blonde Medicine, February 20th. Walker's been doing stand-up for 20 years and has compiled his favorite bits into his debut album, recorded at Comedy Works Denver. On Esquire, Troy Walker touches on everything from racist magazines and porn plot lines to old-school drink names, dating rules, and culture shock in Paris. He uses anecdotes, accents, and honesty to build an album that tells the story of growing up in Denver, the land of legal everything, and moving to L.A., the land of mandatory therapy. And one more, comedian and classical musician Isabel Hagen will unveil her first hour-long special, this one called Isabel Hagen at the Bitter End. This will be on Veeps, January 28th. We're told Isabel Hagen at the Bitter End features Hagen's sharp joke writing and offbeat point of view, mixed with classical viola playing and original songs. Drawing from her life as a working classical musician with anxiety, she blends existential humor and raunchy anecdotes with Bach and Mozart. That's different. I like different. Bart Coleman is Veep's head of comedy, and Bart Coleman said, Isabel is a singular talent who perfectly embodies the intersection of world-class comedy and live music. At Veeps, we're always looking for specials that feel at home alongside our concert programming, and the way Isabel weaves her viola mastery into her stand-up is both seamless and incredibly fresh. Oh, one more thing I wanted to observe, because I ran out the door yesterday because the boiler guy came. Aside from the Netflix festival just being incredibly huge and having all the big names, what really impressed me was how they got all the comedians' social media to coordinate. During like the noon hour the other day, all the comedians were like, hey, I'm going to be at the Netflix festival. Have you ever worked with a comedian? You know how hard it is to get them to do anything like that? Now, I know they have people, but just to get the comedian to agree to anything, I'm really impressed. Like, this was really, really, really well coordinated by the Netflix PR team. So nice job all around. All right, that's enough for today. See, I have heat, so I don't mind talking to you guys for half an hour. That's your comedy news for today. Go vote, Comedy Survivor. I almost tried to steer you one way or another. But you do you. I'm going to edit the show and upload it and maybe go watch Star Trek, if you know what I mean.